It's after work. You're looking for a great beer to unwind with. You want something nice and dark with a lot of flavor. What do you reach for? Edmunds Oast Leather Jacket from Edmunds Oast Brewing in Charleston, South Carolina. It's a fantastic porter. It's an American porter. And we're going to be reviewing that here on American Porter. It's kind of a hybrid. It's a mix between a stout and an ale, but it's not mixed per se. It's actually brewed this way. You're going to get a lot of the chocolate, a lot of the fruit, a lot of the ester, a lot of the nice good caramel flavors that you would expect if you mixed a stout and an ale together. It's very, very dark, very, very rich. It can go from very, very dark brown to almost pitch black. But I guarantee you, if you've ever had a porter, it's wonderful. And I'm going to go into some of the history coming up here shortly about a porter. But we're going to be reviewing the porter, the American porter from Edmunds Oast, the leather jacket, today. And now for the beer specs.
In 2008, two friends opened up a beer store in Charleston, South Carolina, called the Charleston Beer Exchange, in a time when growlers were still a new concept, and state laws that govern how strong beer could be were just beginning to change. Soon, in the northern part of the state, here in Greenville, they opened up a second store known as the Greenville Beer Exchange. Since then, the Greenville Beer Exchange has changed hands, now known as the GBX. In 2017, Edmunds Oast started Edmunds Oast Brewing Company, and now distributes beer in 8 states and counting. Not to mention, they have one great restaurant, in addition to the brewing company and the tap room and the exchange. All of these places are central to the Edmunds Oast family, and each offers its own special take on the inherent passion for fine food and drink that began this story so many years ago. As for the beer itself, Edmunds Oast Leather Jacket is a take on the American porter style. Though the style has English origins, in the past few decades, porters have found new expressions in American brewing. This porter should remind you of something comforting, something that might not be super flashy, but is always in fashion. The style is American porter or a porter. Alcohol by volume, 6.5.
Okay, so let's get cracking with the review, shall we? Today, again, we're going to be looking at Leather Jacket. It's an American porter from Edmunds Oast Brewing in Charleston, South Carolina. I've had this before, and if you like porters, it's an excellent porter. I would say it's kind of a after-work drink. It's not going to be a dessert drink. It's not going to be something you'll have after lawn mowing or anything like that, like any housework or anything. But it's a good overall beer. Porters are going to be that way. That's usually going to be the after-work type of drink from the original porters on the train lines. We're going to be pouring that into our stout glass today. You can pour it into anything you want. A lot of times I'll pour it into a tumbler. I guess you could drink it from the can. This is a 1-pint can. Okay, so we're going to taste it. Now remember, we're going to be judging it on the 5 categories from the Beer Judge Certification Program. That would be the aroma, the appearance, the taste, the mouthfeel, and the overall impression. Well, I already know my impression. Let's get cracking. Love that sound. Now, it is going to be slightly carbonated, so I am going to pour it kind of sideways, and then I'm going to finish it off so that the foam in the head can be glass proud. And as expected, I'm starting to get a good amount of head in there. About halfway up, I'm going to tilt it. And I'm going to let it get good and glass proud. Ooh, I see some nice good foam inside. A lot more foam than I expected. And that's fine. I'm going to let that go down, and it's going to give us our aroma. So that's the first thing we're going to try while we're waiting, is the aroma. Oddly enough, I smell a flower. I smell like a gladiola or some other type of flower you would find in a floral bouquet. Maybe a rose. Yes, definitely rose, which isn't bad. That's an acceptable characteristic. Maybe not a porter, but yeah, that's interesting. And I believe that would come from the hops. Now, differing the porters from the stouts, porters are going to be kind of a mix. There is some history behind it. I'm going to go into that in just a little bit. But the porter would be something that would be, well, some people call it a half and half, but it's really not. But the porters, that is the workers on the train lines or the people who port, they carry. After work, they would gather and they would drink this beer. They would go to the pubs and drink it. They would order it special. It's almost like a beer cocktail, if you would. I'm going to finish getting it a little bit more glass proud, finish up the pint. I think I could do that without spilling it all over the table. Yeah, here we go. It's nice. Okay. I'm still getting that rose flavor to it, which is fine. Okay, it's kind of a good surprise to be quite honest. Sometimes a good floral, a little bit of a change of pace here on the flavor, the smell, the look, any of the characteristics you'll find there on the Beer Judge Certification Program. By the way, the link's below. Print out that sheet. It's not an off flavor. Now, this one's going to be a 6.5% alcohol brew, and I would not suggest drinking a lot of it. It's not a session beer. It's not something you want to sit down and drink one after the other. But as a good after work, as a good relaxer, this is going to be fantastic. Now, we know the aroma. How about the appearance first? It is incredibly dark. I would attribute it a lot like you would a stout. Now, if I were to look through it with a flashlight, I should see light coming through. A very little bit of light. Very, very, very dark. Very, very, very brown. I don't have a flashlight with me, so I can't do that. It's not a stout. It would be like a mix. So you're going to have a little bit of an ale, a little bit of a lager, perhaps that, and definitely you're going to have some of the stout flavor to it. These are brewed specifically in this style versus being mixed. Again, very dark. The foam on it is kind of creamy yellow. It's a little bit slightly brown, kind of like that of mocha or something you would see on top of a coffee. Let's give it a taste. Very well balanced. I'm going to be tasting a slight bit, believe it or not, a slight bit of that rose, again, which isn't bad. There are some beers that have been brewed with a rose flavored water, if you would. It's really, really not bad. I could definitely taste that it has the inclusion of that chocolate malt that's been included into it. Black patent malt, naturally, that's going to give it its color. Very dark. The SRM level, standard reference model level color on it is going to be in the very, very dark range, like you would a stout. Hops. I'm tasting a good amount of hops, and I believe that's where the rose is coming from. Again, the rose isn't overwhelming. It's not overpowering. It's not something that's a put off, okay? Maybe a slight bit of coffee. A slight bit of coffee without a lot of sugar. Now, it's not cloyingly sweet, so you don't have a lot of that nice, rich, coffee that you would with sugar. The rose flavor to it doesn't add to a lot of the sweetness, which is good. Definitely has that coffee flavor to it. So yes, I would say it's very, very, very good in terms of the flavor. The mouthfeel, again, it's not very sweet. It's kind of dry, and that's fine. Dry is good, especially in a porter or in a stout. Dry is not bad, unless you want to have something like an imperial stout or something that's really, really heavy and that's really, really sweet. I haven't had too many porters that were excessively sweet. Overall impression? Yes. I would have one of these. I would have a couple of these. That is, in a situation where I'm not going to be drinking a lot of them. I would have it with a meal. Perhaps something dark, perhaps some cheese, some nice good cheddar. Ooh. Now, I'm not the biggest on pairing foods with beers, but I would definitely say this would go good with a great meal. I don't know if it would go good with seafood, but some sort of meat, I believe it would go fantastic with some sort of a good, nice, rich red meat. So, there you go. The impression, I would say yes. Get it. If you can find it, get it. If you're in Charleston, go to Charleston and go to Edmunds Oast Restaurant and ask them what they would pair with that. They're going to be the experts, and I promise you, they're going to lead you to the best combination of beer and food that you'll ever have. So yes, I would definitely recommend this beer. By the way, part of the mouthfeel is I don't have a lot of carbonation in my mouth. I think a lot of the carbonation came out in the beer. Other than that, I would say definitely 4.5 out of 5 hops. So folks, that's our review. And I do want to say thank you for being with us today. Remember, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if there's any beers you want us to try. And let us know if there's anything different we should do. It helps us and the team bring the content to you that you enjoy. And again, thank you very much. I did want to mention the Beer Review Logbook, $8.99 off of Amazon. I don't get any money off of it. I'm not selling it for them, but I got to tell you, when I picked up this book, I was amazed. Plenty of spaces for you to write down your beer journey adventures with. It's got glossaries, it's got the different style definitions, and it does follow the Beer Judge Certification Program. Oh, yes, and I'm going to say it one more time. Get that Beer Judge Certification Program guideline down below in the description. Print it out, use it, especially the all flavors that you'll see there. If you go to Total Wine, get the Total Wine Total Guide to Beer. It's a fantastic book. You can't go wrong. If you can find it in print at a Total Wine near you, go grab a copy. If not, you may be able to call them and ask them, say, hey, have you got one? Send it to me. If you're in the upstate, go by the Upstate Ale Trail. These are free just about at any brewery that you can find. And you go around and you check off the breweries that you go to, and you can write down your notes. How about that? Now, as the Irish say, sláinte. As the Italians say, chin chin. Japanese, kanpai. Spanish, salud. And of course, here in America, cheers. Lovely.